Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and welcome to your Raw review. So, the big angle has been unveiled. Get it? The big angle. We finally found out Angle's big secret, and well, you'll get my opinions on that later in the video. Something to look forward to. But here's the rest of the review. So, let's start off from the top. Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose are in the ring. It's the relationship of the year. It's like I thought for a moment that the Mike Kanellis shit was the only cuck gimmick on the roster, but it appears that Seth Rollins is one as well. Dean, take me back, acting like he's begging an old ex-girlfriend. How pathetic is this Seth Rollins face character? Not like he was amazing as a heel, but he was better as a heel because at least he wasn't begging the fans and begging Dean Ambrose, for his approval. This guy's been a world champion already multiple times, and he wants to tag team with Dean Ambrose so bad. Like, why? Why is he so desperately need to tag team with him? He hands Dean Ambrose a chair, the chair that Dean Ambrose calls Steely Dan. Oh, what a clever name! What? Uh, it's the Steely Dan's the name of a band, and the chair's made out of steel. What? How clever? How absolutely clever can you get? So, not only do we have a cheesy cornball reference there, giving names to steel chairs, but we also have Seth Rollins just every single week begging the fans for forgiveness, begging Dean Ambrose for forgiveness. I mean, like, when are they going to stop this already? It's pathetic. I've never seen where they turned a baby face, from a heel, and then they had to do this whole, like, they don't give any explanation or anything. He's just, I'm sorry every week. It's getting annoying after a while. It's like that in real life. Someone apologizes over and over. It's like, enough already. My God. Enough already with the apologies week after week from Seth Rollins. So Dean Ambrose, he hands him the chair. Seth gives him the chair. He says, he wants him to trust him. So he says, it will make you feel better. Hit me in the back with the steel chair. So Dean Ambrose doesn't do it because, he doesn't want to get arrested for domestic abuse, assaulting a woman. Because Seth Rollins, he's a woman, I guess, because, he's begging to take him back. Whatever he is, he's a cuck. He's a desperate female. I don't understand what the gimmick is supposed to be. The Miz Taraj comes out. They beat up on Ambrose. I think Rollins had already left or something, and Miz gave him the skull crushing finale on an open chair. I'm getting really tired of this. It's like, how many times are they going to have storylines where I can't wait for them to end just so another bullshit one can start up? That's the whole point of doing these reviews. People enjoy me tearing apart the show and everything, but my God, can this show at least be decent? Contrary to popular belief, it pains me to see a product that was once good end up so terrible, so boring week after week. I mean, this is embarrassing. Seth Rollins coming out there and acting like this with this type of character. This is way more annoying than a PG Cena, like circa 2010, for example. I mean, he's annoying as fuck. Every single week, it's the same thing. The Seth Rollins apology tour. Every single week, it's the same deal. Up next, you had Bailey defeating Alexa Bliss. Um, beating the champion week after week. Here's another thing that's even more tiresome. I talk about this in my video I just put out last week. The top 10 most annoying WWE habits, and this is a big one. Whether you're a champion or a Money in the Bank briefcase holder, you're guaranteed to lose matches. I don't understand what this is. Whatever happened to booking the champion to make him look strong or her strong? She wins on the pay per views, But like on TV, it's the same deal. You've got people losing week after week. It's the same thing. Michael Cole, oh, she pinned the champion like it's an accomplishment. Cole, you know, anybody who watches this show from the past 5 years sees champions getting beat week after week. It's not exactly a big accomplishment to beat a champion. Having a belt nowadays is like having a fucking necklace. Like, everybody has one. And it's not a big accomplishment. I mean, holy fuck. Every single time. How are we supposed to, take Bliss seriously as a champion? Thank God she's got charisma and she's got character. And that you could tell that's all her own doing because creative can't help her out. This is a lot of stuff that she's doing on her own, like the dislocated shoulder, that really weird thing she did at Great Balls of Fire with her arm. That stuff you could tell is either ab-libbed, they probably planned it out before she went out there, but those seem like those are her ideas because the women's division was pretty, devoid of anything interesting or of any character up until she got there. So again, you've got another champion losing. Bliss loses again. She lose last week to Sasha Banks? Now Bayley beats her. Nia Jax is out there. That's the match that the people actually would want to see. Is Jax versus Bliss? It would be interesting. Week after week, it's different. It's Nia's protecting Bliss, then she's against Bliss. Does she want the title? Does she want to protect her? I'm not really understanding what the deal is here. They're going back and forth with a lot of different feuds, and I'm also going to get to that later in the show. Kurt Angle is backstage with Corey Graves. Is the secret here that Angle is gay for Graves or vice versa? I mean, what's the deal here? Every single week, like, what is this? Is Graves is supposed to be a commentator? You never saw JR the King running backstage, to talk to the authority figures. Like, what? How is it that 1 minute he's backstage, the next minute he's at the commentary table? What is Corey Graves? Like, who is this guy? Is he a secret agent? Is he a counselor of some sort, or is he just a commentator? I don't know, but all I know is the YWC puts this man over like he's some type of commentary god. I'm begging you people to go listen to the good commentators. I put out a little network review of the WWE ECW head-to-head special where I talked a lot about, I spent several minutes, maybe even like 10 minutes in total, talking about the art of great commentary. And Corey Graves does definitely not possess the art of great commentary. He's generic. The best line he had tonight was that in that cruiserweight match, some guy does a backwards 450, and he says, "Oh, maybe we should call it the 054." I mean, like, this is the brilliant commentary you're getting from this man. Why are you guys putting him over so much like he's some type of commentary god? Go watch the King, who's still under contract from them. JR, who they brought back but don't want to use. I mean, what? Like, you have all these great commentators under contract. They have Mauro Ranallo. They're putting him in NXT probably because the rumors of him having troubles with JBL and leaving in the first place are probably true. Why are we having Mauro Ranallo on NXT? He's calling developmental matches on the network. They should have this guy. He's got a voice. This is a former voice of the UFC. You don't want to have him out there. Just get Graves out of there, for God's sakes, and put Ranallo in there. I mean, are these people losing their fucking minds? Don't they know how important it is to have a good voice? Like the NBA, Major League Baseball, the NFL, they all have these big names. Can you imagine what the NFL would have been like if John Madden wasn't a commentator? I mean, these are names that many people know. when it comes to wrestling, JR and the King, and there's no reason why they're not able to do the job they are. So put them in the spot. I mean, it's quite obvious nobody is that crazy about Michael Cole, or only the most hardcore fans are crazy about Corey Graves because he's a developmental NXT guy. That's the only reason people like him. I mean, I understand the reason. He brings nothing to the commentary table. Why you guys like him so much? So, he's consoling Angle backstage. I just had to get that brief rant in on him because, Graves might have a good look and everything to him, but for fuck's sakes, I mean, I don't see what's so great about him on commentary. As I said, the best guy that they have on commentary right now is Booker T. Keep the man there because if they get rid of Booker T, it was so boring when they had Byron Sex Addict on there. Now they got Booker T. At least there's some charisma there. At least someone's being entertaining on commentary. Backstage, you had Davari and Tazawa arguing backstage. This is a different Davari. It's not the Muhammad Hassan Davari. Like, and I have to say, who the fuck is this guy? Where did he come from? Oh, he's a guy on 205 Live. Okay, no explanation, no nothing like that. If you don't watch 205 Live, you won't know who Davari is. And I'm like, who is this guy? He's talking about Iranian gold medalist. Who gives a fuck? And I'm looking at PW Torch once again. Like I said, one of the most entertaining things about Wade Keller is his reactions to certain things and what he writes down in his Raw reviews. And he says, "Oh, it was a smart thing to have Titus ONeil sitting down when he was talking to Tazawa before Davari walked in because he didn't want to. He thinks that they didn't want Titus to tower over Tazawa, because he's managing him. Or maybe because he just wanted to fucking sit down, Keller. I mean, what is this? You don't want people to tower over smaller wrestlers? God forbid we make them feel bad about themselves. I mean, what would the world come to? I guess the Attitude Era ratings started to plummet when they were having The Undertaker and Big Show tag against Kane and X-Pac when all three guys were towering over X-Pac. Basically, the whole roster was towering over X-Pac, but somehow X-Pac still managed to be one of the most popular guys on the roster during the Attitude Era, receiving massive pops every single time he came out or appeared on camera. But no, this is how you hurt guys by having others tower over them. I mean, what is Wade Keller pull this shit out of his ass? I mean, like I said, he's like a poor man's Meltzer Magoo, basically. He's like a second-hand Meltzer Magoo. He says just as much ridiculous shit as Meltzer Magoo does, including this little comment here. You got guys that we don't even know about. Instead of Keller criticizing that part of the show, he's like, "Oh, we had Davari got some mic time on Raw with a big exclamation point." Who cares? You call that a great promo? Why are you so excited about some nameless 205 guy? I mean, I like. Does anybody give a shit about 205 Live? Does anybody care about Davari or Tazawa for that matter? I mean, what the fuck? I thought this guy was Tasha Michinoku for a minute. I didn't even know who the guy was when he first came out there. Like, no explanation for any of these guys. They're just, a bunch of cruiserweights that nobody even cares about. They're just grouped all together. No personalities, no nothing. You had Mustapha and Jack Gallaher. This moron is back on my screen once again, and they defeat Brian Kendrick and Drew Gulak. Once again, I have to ask, who the hell is this guy? Drew Gulak. I've seen the other guys. I saw Kama Mustafa, or whatever the hell his name is, before. Jack Gallaher is back. This is the guy who was spinning on umbrellas next to Chris Jericho's penis during the Royal Rumble. And now we've got a bunch of other no-namers coming out of nowhere. So they just pour these guys out of nowhere. You know, the 205 floodgates open and they just randomly appear on Raw. And I have to ask, are we just supposed to sit there and accept it as random people just appear on our screen? Who the fuck are these guys? We all know that nobody's watching this shit on the network. And it's already been confirmed by the viewership ratings on the network for 205 Live. No one is tuning in. So if you just show these guys randomly, no one is going to know who Drew Gulak is. And I've mentioned this before with these names. Why does everybody have such a plain, stupid name on this roster? All these names, Gulak, TJ Perkins, all these fucking names. I mean, these are not names of stars. Finn Balor, for God's sakes. Sami Zayn. I mean, you think about these names, and these are names for people who are basically guaranteed to go nowhere. These are not names of true stars. And this is also the match where, you know, the YWC savior, Corey Graves, says that the 450 splash should be called the 054. Whatever. Brian Kendrick is way too talented and charismatic to be wasting his time here. And I have to also say that nowhere on this show was Neville featured, which is just fucking confusing as all hell. The most charismatic guy, the guy who looks the most like a star, the fucking champion. We'll get to that in a second. He's not on the show. Enzo comes out, starts talking about how Big Cass kicked his ass at Great Balls of Fire, but he's never going to back down from him. So then Cass comes out, and Enzo talks a big game, but then he runs into the crowd and has Big Show come out to fight his battles for him. So he just said this whole line about being a tough guy, and then he runs like a fucking pussy. Who's writing this shit? You just had the man directly contradict himself in the matter of 2 fucking minutes. And this went on for way too long. I complained last week that Big Show was taking away Big Cass's heat by kicking his ass when it should have been the other way around. Well, Big Cass basically had a wrestling match here. It went on for like 5 minutes of him just kicking the Big Show constantly and ramming him into the post. And then it just ends. And there you go. That's it, guys. This prolonged beatdown was painful to watch. It went on for way too fucking long, and it didn't even feel like a beatdown. It felt just like a match without a fucking referee. That's all it was. This is not a good way to start off Big Cass's big push that they want to give him. And right there, killing Enzo's character. You know, if he's such a tough guy and everything, you know, if they want to give him the X-Pac gimmick where he never gives up and he never surrenders, and as JR used to say, the kid's got heart, you know, well, okay, you know, that's not showing a lot of heart by hiding in the crowd as the Big Show comes out to fight your battles for you. It's kind of confusing to say the least. Fuckboy Balor defeated Samson via DQ. Samson finally used the guitar, but nobody actually told him how to use the guitar properly. You know, instead of doing the Jeff Jarrett and hit him with the middle of the guitar, he hits him with the side of the guitar. He splits Balor's head open, and no, I'm not going to say I'm happy about that. I know there's going to be some sickos out there that are going to say, oh, you're probably happy, Brad. You got what you wanted. No, I don't. I'm not happy seeing another guy get hurt. In fact, I'm kind of mad at Samson for doing that. Like, very amateurish, hitting him the wrong way with the guitar, or maybe that was the agents that didn't tell him how to properly do the guitar Jarrett style. You know, you can't hit people in the side of the head, you know, These are breakaway weapons. You can't hit him in the part of the head that's not breakaway. So it ended in a DQ. And as Balor walks away, Wyatt, starts like challenging him on the Titantron. Now, what's going on here? So Seth Rollins loses to Wyatt twice in a row, and the feud's over already. And remember I mentioned about how Wyatt was attacking people week after week because they couldn't decide who they wanted him to feud with. So he started attacking Rollins, then he attacked Ambrose, then he attacked Balor. And I said, what happened to the feud with Balor? Well, it looks like 2 to 3 months later, we're finally getting that feud. But what is up with creative? I mean, are they really like that so all over the place? I mean, these people with the fucking ADD, they cannot decide what they want to do. They go from one feud, from one angle to the other without even completing the last one that they did. So that's just it. The feud is over. He beat Rollins 2 times in a row by poking him in the eye, and that's it. That's the end of the feud, guys. What a nice job you did there, protecting Seth Rollins and his new babyface gimmick. I mean, maybe that is his gimmick. Maybe they want to make it so he gets his ass beat like a giant pussy, and that's it. I mean, holy fuck. I mean, these storylines, these feuds that they come up with. I mean, like, how dissatisfactory are they? I mean, they go from one thing to another, no conclusions, no payoff. Nobody ends up getting anything out of it. Nobody's over. I mean, what, like, these guys got to be like looking at this, and they're probably not complaining too much because they're getting paid well, but they're like, what the hell is creative doing with us? Kurt Angle is backstage with Sasha and Alexa Bliss. They're going to have a match next week to decide who's going to be the number one contender. We've seen these matches already. Please don't tell me we're going to have a triple threat match at SummerSlam with both girls pinning each other, because I feel like that's what they did last year. I think they did that with Sasha and Charlotte. My God. Please don't do that. We already saw these matches. What about Mickie James? How come she doesn't wrestle? She's like a legend, when it comes to the women's division. Why don't they have her go out there? Why is she not wrestling? They have all these other women that they don't use. Nia Jax is just going to be sitting backstage at the pay-per-view. I mean, what a joke. What a fucking joke. They're pretending like Bayley is super popular, but it's pretty obvious that every time she comes out there, she's not getting the same reaction she did in NXT. And why is that? Because the NXT has like something like 1,000 people there versus 16,000 people at a Raw event. So there's no big surprise there that she's not that over. And people are not going to be tuning in to see Bayley acting like a fucking retard. She's a 30-year-old girl that's acting like she's 12 years old, for fuck's sakes, even younger than that. Davari defeated Tazawa. Titus ONeil, made Tozawa forfeit. He told the referee to stop the match. Tozawa was angry with him, and I am angry that I even watched this match. First of all, not only do you have a match that nobody cares about, but then you do a bullshit finish like that. Davari is doing some simple shots to the shoulder, and it's time to stop the match. And Titus ONeil tells him backstage, "Oh, you have to look to the future." Titus, Tozawa doesn't have any future. This guy, if he lasts in the WWE a year, he's a lucky guy, because I don't think he's going to last even that fucking long. No character, no personality, no backstory, no nothing. Throw him out there. He's a cruiserweight, guys. He's Japanese. Oh, well, if you ask the YWC and you ask Wade Keller, he's going to be super happy that, that Tozawa is getting this much exposure, because as we all know, if anyone wrestled in Japan or is Japanese, they're automatically a wrestling god, for fuck's sakes. And then we had the big reveal. Kurt Angle and his son, Jason Jordan. And I have to say one thing for a fucking minute here, guys. I have to say one fucking thing here. Why? Why would they do this? Especially if you're like me and you listen to Vince Russo's podcast and he brings up this great point. You can't do stuff like this in 2017 when everybody has the internet, when everybody clearly knows that Jason Jordan is not Kurt Angle's son. You can't have a storyline like this. And the other thing that doesn't make any sense is who's Jason Jordan's tag team partner? Chad Gable. I can't even remember this, but it's because I was seeing it on Twitter. Chad Gable is the one who's the former Olympian. He's also the one that people, remember, I think they were chanting his name in the rhythm of Kurt Angle's theme song back in NXT. He was getting a lot of comparisons because of the German suplexes, the ankle lock. So the thing is, if they were going to make somebody Kurt Angle's kayfabe son, wouldn't they have chose the former Olympian? Huh? Yeah, I know. First of all, that was the rumor. So this is clever WWE creative. Just picks the other tag team partner. Everyone is guessing, and it was funny because a lot of people were joking about the Chad Gable thing. So instead, they choose Jason Jordan, the guy who hasn't even been there for like a year. We don't even remember him. He comes out, no reaction from the crowd. No one is giving a fuck. If they think this is what's going to get Jason Jordan over, WWE thinks to themselves, well, or Vince McMahon more specifically, well, he's going to get over because he's Kurt Angle's son and he's going to feed off of that Kurt Angle pop. Well, no, it's not what's going to happen. People are going to see a guy with Kurt Angle that couldn't possibly be Kurt Angle's son because he has nowhere near the charisma. He has nowhere near the look. He has nothing going for him. I mean, the guy showed some energy in the ring as a tag team with American Alpha. It's another failed experiment. Another tag team that completely failed. Enzo and Cass didn't work. Tear it apart. American Alpha didn't work. Tear it apart. The Vaudevillains didn't work. Tear it apart. I mean, my God, every single thing that they do ends in failure. Nothing goes over. And this is just going to be another example of that. This is not going to get over with the crowd. This is not going to pump the ratings up. I'm happy with them, though, that they finally did a cliffhanger last week, that they finally did mysteries, and they were doing it with Enzo and Cass. At least they were trying to add some intrigue. As disappointing and as, perplexing as it is, at least they tried to do something a little different, and that I will commend them for, in all honesty. The Revival defeated the Hardy Boys. We're just going to have the Hardys lose. Is this going to lead to them being broken? Or are they just basically breaking the Hardys here and just treating them as jokes? I mean, this is like 3 weeks in a row with the Hardys losing. After a while, people are going to look at this and be like, the Hardys are just becoming jokes. They're just losing week after week, and there's no big storyline behind it to try to protect them or at least get people's minds off it. We're just having a match, and they're losing. So basically what we're seeing is the Hardys is losers. Nice job. So they're in TNA. They're super over. They're entertaining. They're more entertaining than anything on any of the WWE shows. They bring them to WWE, the biggest wrestling company in the world, and, well, it's like nobody could give a fuck less about them because, as I said right from the start, they're just another tag team on the roster. Are they great? Are they legends? Yes, to both. But right now, they're not looking so great. They're not being portrayed as legends. They're not being portrayed as a great tag team. They're being portrayed just as, as well as the Ascension. I mean, they're a tag team, but they're not really doing anything great with them at all. And in the main event, it was Joe and Reigns, and Braun Strowman returned and destroyed both of them. So I don't know what's going to happen. They might have a fatal four-way, most likely at SummerSlam. Another multi-person match. I would have liked this. You know what would have been an interesting match? Strowman and Lesnar. We can't have that. It would have been interesting, but then again, I do still want to see Roman Reigns in the title picture because he does deserve it, despite what these goofballs in the YWC think. Overall, this show is like, well, I can't say I'm excited about the Jason Jordan thing. Really, to be honest, I don't even think the people in the YWC are that thrilled with it. They kind of see it the same way, like, okay, we know he's not his son. So it's just like, you can't do this in this day and age. When the wrestling business is exposed as it is, you can't just do this kayfabe shit. They have to like do realistic stuff. That's why the broken Hardy things with them fighting outside and everything and making it more real. Doing all this shit where they're pretending to be each other's father and son is just, it's a bit ridiculous. And everybody who has Wikipedia could obviously check this out themselves or Google it and see it's not true. Aside from that, I mean, this show there was nothing on it. You have two cruiserweight matches. You have Tozawa in multiple segments, but the champion Neville is nowhere to be seen. Where is he? Did I miss him? Is no, he just wasn't there. It's pretty obvious that they have no idea how to book this show in any way, shape, or form. I mean, like, once again, I ask it week after week. Can this company do anything right? Can they do anything right at all? I mean, every single week it's the same story. They either fuck something up with somebody's character, they bury somebody, they have a bunch of useless matches. Like I said, I'll give them credit. They did try to go for a cliffhanger, but this is far from what I would call a great show, motherfuckers. Anyway, until next time.